Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of Season 1 of the anime Made in Abyss on Toonami. And I overall really enjoyed this anime. I'd been waiting for it, and I was pleasantly surprised with what I saw through Toonami. It has a very interesting concept. I like how this story is able to dive into the characters, and I can't wait for any more seasons that they do for it, especially because of how, even though the animation style is pretty unique in that it's still kind of chibi, but it still works out pretty well because they are kids, so it isn't like they're kind of like completely weird. I mean, it just works to be able to have the kids look like kids, and then also the monsters have the ability to look like they still inhabit the same world with the different kinds of takes that they're able to do. So, the main basic premise of Made in Abyss is there's this town, Orth, there's this giant kind of pit, the Abyss, and there's all these different kind of layers, kind of similar to Dante's Inferno of Hell. I very much got those kind of Dante's Divine Comedy, especially the Inferno one of descending into Hell, with the Abyss as it's divided into layers, mainly that there are 6 known layers at the moment, and that nobody has really reached the bottom that we know of yet. So, we see that there are cave raiders that go in, look around for, like, relics and shit like that. And that there's this orphanage that pretty much teaches these kids to do cave raiding. And there's various kind of levels for cave raiders. Now, granted, this is important mainly for world building, not for the kind of personal plot that we are getting to at this point. Though those often do kind of intersect. We've got Riko doing her kind of stuff while her friends are kind of like doing some stuff as well. Nat kind of being her kind of partner. There's this Shiggy kid as well, and this Kiyui, I think, or Kiyui. That kid's only important to later on pretty much prove that there's the curse even at the top layer on Orth because of this birthday death disease thing. Like, he's burning up, pretty much getting ready to pretty much die, but they take him outside onto the water on the world, and he's perfectly fine. All the symptoms disappear. It's just like, yeah, so you still even get the curse up there. Ha! And that's the thing. This curse gets stronger and stronger as you go down, where when you go up from the first layer, you kind of get a little bit tired or whatnot, and the second layer gets like more kind of like hallucinations and all that kind of effect, until you get to the third layer, and you start bleeding out of every orifice after you try and like ascend. And we do get the information pretty much towards the end of this season that the curse is this interesting kind of like thing of that picture like a dome. You can go through the top filament of the dome pretty easily. However, there's like picture the curse is like spikes on the inside, and trying to go up through it is where you get fucked over. And that it's mainly stronger in the center vertical shaft of the Abyss rather than on the sides. Makes sense. This is mainly to kind of set up where we're kind of going throughout. I believe that it's better to kind of like bring this. I don't have a problem with how it was done in the show. However, if I keep going through certain things, it's just easier to kind of get that information kind of out of the way. And we learned that there's even more kind of detrimental effects as you go deeper and try and get out of the Abyss. So, we are introduced to Riko doing her kind of stuff. We see her doing her thing, trying to find relics, trying to fill her quota because she's trying to become a White Whistle and go after her mom, Liza, who's this big kind of legendary White Whistle. Anybody that gets to a White Whistle does kind of pretty much have that kind of legendary kind of aspect to them because there's not really that many of them that we know of. We're mainly introduced to Liza, Ozan, and Bondrude. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Bondrude. Asshole motherfucker. Sorry. So, she's pretty much trying to do that. She wants to get there as soon as possible because she wants to dive deeper into the Abyss. She has a very reckless quality streak. Like, I don't hate her character. She does have interesting kind of capabilities. She knows the most about the Abyss. She's lore heavy on that kind of stuff. She is just reckless to a fault, and it pretty much almost gets her killed and gets her almost severely maimed. And the thing is, I get annoyed and irritated with her character. I don't think she's a bad character because they're able to balance out that kind of stuff with this other character, Reg, that pops up, who is kind of like an automaton kind of thing that we think, but he's got certain things that are pretty much atomically pretty much human. They talk about his penis a lot. Well, not a lot. They're around 12, 14. I'm like, alright, because evidently he helped save Rico from an attack, and then they bring him up. It's like, what the fuck kind of relic is this dude? It's like, I don't know, I stuck a stick up his ass, and he seems to be pretty much a human. It's like, what are you doing to me, you assholes? So, they pretty much name him after a dog that Rico had, and he gets kind of acclimated to the orphanage a bit, but then at the beginning, we pretty much see that, like, Liza's White Whistle is brought with all these kind of, like, contents of her kind of journals and whatnot, with also kind of stuff that she'd written out, and that Rico's able to see it, and sees that there's this one written paper that has drawings of all these various creatures from the abyss, including something similar to Reg, and also that she will be waiting for Rico, like, at the bottom of the abyss. So then this sets her off to want to go down into the abyss. And we learn later on that it might not even be completely within her power of why she has such a strong pull to the abyss. One, because we learned that she was stillborn in the abyss, and was then put within this kind of curse-repelling relic that brought her back to life, and that anything that was taken out of there pretty much tried to crawl back to the abyss. So her recklessness might be due to that overwhelming drive sense from that. However, I think that's only part of the case, in that her survival senses are completely and utterly overridden by trying to find and ascertain certain things. It's like, okay, I identified more with Reg because it's like, yeah, there's some cool shit down here, but I don't want to die, and I don't want to see you die either. And we see that he has all different kind of abilities, as well as we learn that he's able to utilize this, like, incinerator cannon kind of thing. However, it knocks him out for 2 hours, and that becomes kind of a problem, as we learn later on. But this kind of sets them off on their quest to go down in the abyss. And pacing-wise, I thought this would feel a little bit too fast, but however, there's only 13 episodes, and they're able to kind of do this at a pretty good clip. And the last episode is like a double-length episode. So instead of 30 minutes, it's like an hour. But I didn't feel this felt too fast. However, I did think that she was being vastly reckless in trying to do this when she doesn't have the abilities to, like, survive and get through the curses, if there's any way to kind of build that up, or have any relics that would help her with that, except for, like, this compass that she almost immediately loses as they're trying to go down. We do have some conflict with her friends at the orphanage, mainly with the Nat, but he's able to apologize and sets them off on a place to kind of go down where no other people would be able to see them. We see that the head dude that's been teaching at the orphanage, Jiro, knows what's going on. He's like, hey, good luck. We're coming after your ass when dawn pops up. It's like, ah, shit, we gotta go. They do run into her uncle. I don't know if it's really her uncle, but this Black Whistle dude, he offers to try and get them to the secret camp on the second layer, but she's like, no, I want to do this myself. I'm like, alright, good on you for that. Try that. I don't mind people trying to do stuff on their own. However, when you look with what Rico is doing, you're like, that other shoe is gonna fucking drop kick your ass. So they're able to outrun their pursuers and get to the second base, and this is where they meet with Ozin, the immovable. I believe it's the immovable. But she's trying to, like, ascertain what's up with them. They get introduced to Maruk. Maruk? I think that's how you pronounce it. But he's, well, she? I don't know how to refer to Maruk. Well, they are Ozin's apprentice, and they're happy that they're able to see other kind of kids as well, and wants them to stay a little bit longer and them able to do cave reading and stuff. However, Rico's like, no, I gotta get to the bottom, my mom's waiting for me. Ozin pretty much tries to be like, yeah, there was, like, that was near, like, a grave and whatnot with the blaze reap that she'd used to have, and I don't know, but she's able to read the things like, oh, that is her handwriting, I can't, like, break this thing, but she's pretty much just playing their asses. Rico also sees this weird kind of thing going around, like, what the fuck was that? Ozin's like, see this thing? whatever we put into this curse repelling thing keeps trying to go down to the abyss. That also includes your ass. She's like, I don't think you're able to handle it. Pretty much taking down Rico and fighting Reg to pretty much a standstill as he then utilizes his incinerator to try and take her out. However, she's able to kind of stop him, and then he passes out for 2 hours. Just like, you guys wouldn't last a minute. I mean, you'd be able to kill whatever was trying to immediately take your ass out. But 2 hours, she's dead. So she pretty much has them do a kind of like little training kind of thing. They go out for pretty much 10 days. They come back and, all right, help you out a little bit. Send her on the way. And like, let's see how this works out. And then they immediately get into the third layer, and shit goes completely sideways. Reg has to pretty much utilize an incinerator cannon, and Rico just shows how she is just incapable of handling certain things. Like, she didn't really even think about it until she had to, like, take care of Reg, and then she's like, oh, I'm hungry, and she's like, tries to find this kind of stuff, and almost gets them both eaten and digested in this one thing, and she has to, like, carry him up this incline, and, of course, ascending at any layer of the abyss brings on the curse, and she's like hallucinating and everything. She's like, yeah, I kind of understand why you gotta make sure that me and Reg do a team, because he's got the durability to be able to like attack and everything like that, because he's able to use the Blaze Reef to like take out this monster thing, Crimson Splitjaw, I believe. That's pretty much been attacking them, but they start like getting through it, and she kind of understands that she fucked up. However, that is not to the extent that it. That's not where it stops. It gets even worse as they get down to the fourth layer. And it's like, alright. And they really change up the different kind of environments. Because you get the first layer, you're kind of like, alright, this is kind of like cool place. And then they get to this inverted forest. That's the second layer. It's like, alright. Then you get to this kind of like cliff kind of place where it's just like this giant vertical shaft with like cliff orifices that they're pretty much like going through these kind of caverns to get there. Then they get to this giant goblet kind of stuff, which have all this kind of water and all that, and these giant kind of plants. Like, alright, cool. But they get down there and they deal with this orb piercer kind of thing, which is fucking strong as shit and has poison barbs and everything. And this is where it gets nutty as shit, because Reg's trying to attack it and everything, but it's protecting all the moves. And this umbrella that they tried to use was not able to protect them, and Rico gets poisoned. I'm like, you should have stayed back. Reg's got better durability. Now, granted, the orb piercer probably would have went for her, because understanding how weak, the weaker kind of prey she would have been. But that kind of fucks her up, and she's like, we gotta get out of here, we gotta ascend. And they ascend, and she starts bleeding out everywhere, and she's crying and telling Reg to chop off her arm, and he's just like, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do. And you see her hand is fucked up as shit, and he's tried to like chop off. It was fucking, it's nuts, man. They were able to sell it with the dub of how distressed Reg was. Like, he's trying to chop off her arm, but doesn't want to do it and doesn't know how to do it. He breaks it at a certain spot and is trying to hack at it, but she stops breathing, and then this creature pops up and like, hey, I'll help you out with this. And we learn that this creature is Nanachi, and we get her full story as everything kind of like works out. However, she's able to tell him to like pretty much use CPR on her, and he's like, all right, what do I do? How do I help her? And Nanachi's like, follow me. Takes them back to her kind of like base and everything. They're able to also see the curse and to get through places so it won't like affect Rico as much. So they're able to kind of like fix up her arm a little bit. He gets sent. Reg gets sent on these kind of quests to kind of like bring all this kind of stuff. We see this mini kind of creature thing working around. It's like, what the fuck is that thing? And it has a real liking to Rico, as we see it kind of bonding with her as she's in her kind of knocked out, unconscious kind of state with everything going on, because her body has gone through a horrific kind of shock period. Well, Reg's able to get all this kind of stuff. We learn Nanachi's cooking is not the best, but that these poison kind of like these mushrooms on the back of this kind of board thing that is able to like suck out the poison and everything and help Rico's hand heal as well. So it's like, all right, cool, that worked out. And then Nanachi, pretty much, we get her full kind of backstory. Granted, you could term this as an info dump, and it kind of is, but it's done in a pretty good way, because we pretty much get the flashback scenes. We see that Nanachi was a child that liked to read, learned stuff out, but was pretty much in a bad kind of part of the world, with no parents, nobody else, And Bondrew's like, hey, come with me and I'll take you on adventures in the abyss kind of shit. It's like, if there is ever a kind of poster child, it's a dude that looks like an evil Doctor Doom, Iron Man kind of dude promising to take you on adventures. Okay? Don't do it. Don't do it. Not that she would agree. So Bondrew's like, yeah, we'll do this shit. So now she's like, alright, cool. And goes with the other children. She meets up with Mitty, and we find out that Mitty was a girl as well. And they become fast friends and everything, and we see the rest of the group of the children kind of disappearing as they have pretty much been taken to the 5th layer. They get, like, taken down in this kind of thing that's able to kind of, like, go from the top layer of Orth down to the 5th layer, and then we learned that Bondrew has been using children to ascertain the effects of the curse. He is an evil mad scientist, and if your whole thing is to experiment on children, fuck you, dude. Just fuck you all the way. Like, it even goes against, like, the cave raiding kind of thing. It's like, dude, go down and figure out what's going on yourself. Because he builds these kind of tubes, and he's like, alright, the curse will be forced to all one side, so we'll see kind of what happens, guys. And I'm just like, I hate you. Like, they did a good job of making that dude a complete and utter, like, I'm like, interesting, kind of cool design. And then immediately, once I learned what he's after and what he's doing, I completely and utterly hated his character. Not to say he's a bad character, it's just he is a bad person, and I hate him completely. Fuck him. And we see what happens. We see that Nanachi, she gets turned into the kind of hollow creature that we see, and that she still retains her intelligence, but she's able to see the curse, and is pretty much like a fluffy bunny rabbit, and is kind of uncomfortable with Reg around, but is okay with Rico. We see that Mitty gets pretty much turned into this blob kind of thing, and is immortal. Like, every time they try, Bondrew was trying to kill her, she would come back, and in a more kind of state that was less cohesive than before. And Nanachi couldn't take that, and she took Mitty, and they went up pretty much to the 4th layer, where they've been here. And Reg's like, geez, that's horrible. And then I had said that since Nanachi had saved Rico's life, that Reg, he would do anything that Nanachi asked, and he's like, I want you to... like, Reg would say he would do anything that Nanachi asked, and she asked that he kill Mitty from seeing what he was able to do with the incinerator cannon, because that would be the only thing that would be able to kill her, because she's immortal, and she's in pain, and she can feel pain all the time, and she can't express it. And one of the core tenets of the Abyss is, like, if you die in the Abyss, your, like, soul would be put out and then returned back, and Mitty's soul is stuck in that body. Now, granted, Mitty was able to kind of, like, help out Rico, because she knew being stuck in that kind of form, and Rico was able to kind of, like, help out as well. And Reg's just like, I don't know if I can do that. And just seeing these kids put in this situation was just so fucked up. I'm like, God damn it. And Nanachi, she builds this kind of, like, funeral shrine where she puts Mitty on with, like, all the stuffed animals that she made for her. And it's like, so sorry, and just tries to say goodbye to her. And then Reg's like, alright, I'll do it. And then he's able to do it. And you just see them both crying. It's fucked up. It's really fucked up. Like, even if you asked an adult to do that kind of thing, it's disgusting that somebody did that to another living being, that the only way would be to completely annihilate them, to have them be free. And it's just like, it completely cemented my hate for Bondrew, and I'm like, fuck that dude. But then they kind of get together, and Reg tries to get Nanachi to promise that she won't kill herself after this, because then her friend's finally free. She doesn't have another kind of thing to kind of live for. And Nanachi's like, alright, I'll kind of help you guys out. Rico wakes up, talks about how she was able to understand that Mitty's soul had been freed, and that they had gotten together. Rico, of course, cooks food, and it's delicious and everything, and Nanachi, she loves it. Let's see. And then, of course, they prepare everything. They set off, and write a letter that's able to get all the way to Orth as her friends are able to read it. And we see that Brondrud was able to have some kind of thing to be able to figure out that Mitty was alive or dead. It's like, oh, Nodachi, congratulations on killing Mitty. I guess I'll see you pretty soon. And they continue their trek. We see that Riko is able to kind of start to rehabilitate herself and create a kind of support that she's able to use to make sure that her hand is usable. And they set off for more of their quest. And I'm like, damn, that's a hell of a way to end it. I'm like, yeah, I'm not really comfortable. I mean, like, granted, I'm glad I watched it because it's definitely interesting character depth and drama to have these characters put in these kind of situations. So that's a definite strength I would have for this series. Also, the action scenes are actually very well done. The animation is fluid, and you're able to track it. It just looks fucking amazing to see everything kind of moving, especially when Reg is able to actually, like, go full force on whatever kind of creature is trying to take them out. But it's heavy fucking subject matter, and it's just really fucking affecting and disturbing, and you're just like, ah, shit. So, even though this looks all cutesy, make sure your kids or whoever you're watching this with is alright with this. Alright? This is not for the faint of heart. I mean, there's some good levity moments and everything in it, but sweet Jesus, check your shit. And if you get uncomfortable, it's alright to stop watching. Oh, and we pretty much also get kind of like confirmation that Reg and Riko are like into each other, because even Nanachi was looking at them like they're in like a hot tub kind of situation. It's like, oh shit, what the fuck's going on with your penis, Reg? It's like, alright, kinda know where that's going. Well, it doesn't go to like them doing anything. It's just used as pretty much like more of a joke kind of thing. And Riko just being like, what the fuck is your body doing? Because she's not that well versed with male anatomy. But it helps to like showcase like their character development of what's going on. Even though when Reg was asleep in the beginning, she was like just fucking around with his body, just trying to figure out what he was. If he was a relic, if he was a boy, what was going on. It's just like, yeah, but you don't just stick shit into people. You don't. Alright, but the, let's see. It's, the biggest portions of this are like action and character development. Character development and the like story and plotting being the strongest points. So if you're into that, I'd highly recommend this. Of course, with caveats that if it gets too heavy for you, and you're like, I don't want to see children have a mental breakdown over killing their other friend because it's become immortal and can't release its soul because of what it kind of form it's in. God damn. I hope there's some kind of karmatic justice for that motherfucker. So just watch yourself on that. Animation stayed consistent and beautiful all the way through. There weren't any kind of like hiccups or anything that I saw. If you did, let me know. I think that the dub really fit the characters very well, and that there weren't any kind of like weird voices like, hi, I'm like a 30-year-old man, but I sound like this. You know what I mean? Or like some kind of weird thing where there was like a tonal mismatch. That doesn't happen. They're able to keep the tone very pretty much on the serious front with moments of levity to make sure it breaks up certain things going on. So it's not completely jokey, but it's able to make sure that his tone is consistent throughout. And if that is an important thing to you, this is definitely strong on that point. Because some anime go completely nutty one moment and be like, this is serious as shit. And then for some reason goes to the like most jokiest thing. It's like, that's alright. That happened. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to like a second season or whatever they're trying to do with this, and whenever that kind of pops off on any kind of streaming service or back on Toonami. Love being able to watch shit on Toonami. But yeah, those are my opinions on this season. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.